Alright, we got problem 9 here. That's a nice, long problem. It's an SAT problem. It says, in a certain game, each of 5 players received a score between 0 and 100, inclusive. Now, inclusive means they could have gotten a 0, they could have gotten 100. Okay. If their average score was 80, what is the greatest possible number of the 5 players who could have received a score of 50? So could I have had all 5 players get a 50? No, because the average was an 80. So here's the way we got to think about this. If the average was an 80, that's the arithmetic mean, the arithmetic mean. If the average score was an 80, and there's 5 players, you know that if you have 5 times the average score of 80, that means those 5 scores added up to 400. In other words, this guy's score plus this guy's score plus this guy's score plus this guy plus the 5th player, it had to add up to 400, because once you added them up and divided by 5, you got an average of 80. And 400 divided by 5 is 80. So that's what I know. So I got to come in here and say, okay, how many of these guys could have gotten a perfect 50? Now if you want to say, oh, 50, 50, 50, 50, that adds up to how much? 4 50s is 200. The most this guy could have gotten was 100. That's not going to get us to 400. So we know there's no way we could have 4 of them get 50s. What could we have? This guy get a 50, another 50, and another 50. Now that's 150 there. How much more do we have to go? Well, if you subtract 150 from the 400, that's going to leave you at 250. Is there any way these 2 guys could add up to 250? The highest they can make is 100. So that's not going to work. So you know it's not 3. What about 2 of them? Well, 50 and 50 is 100. We have 300 here, right, to get to 400. That's going to work. If this guy made 100, this guy made 100, and this guy made 100, it would work. So the most that you and I could have of the 5 players who could have received a score of 50, the most we could have had is 2 of them. And that's if these 3 guys all made hundreds on that game. There you have it. The answer is 2.